Have you ever found yourself, stuck? You're an advanced English learner, C1 level, you get the complex stuff, you can even write these perfect sentences. But then, maybe when you're tired or under pressure, suddenly speaking feels like hard work. Every word feels deliberate. Like, the word precarious, but risky is the one that just pops out first. It's like you're driving stick shift all the time, even though you're an expert driver. That feeling, we're calling it the C1 paradox today.
It's a really common feeling, actually.
Yeah.
That frustration, like fluency is just out of reach.
Exactly. No matter how many hours you put in. Well, what if I told you there's a really insightful way to understand why that happens and, more importantly, how to maybe break through it? Today, we're doing a deep dive into some fascinating ideas from the Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman, his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. It's a game changer.
Absolutely. He gives us this fantastic model of the mind.
Right. He talks about these two ways our brain works. Two sort of characters almost. A fast, intuitive system 1 and a slow, deliberate system 2.
That's the core framework.
So our mission for this deep dive is to use Kahneman's ideas to really unpack that C1 paradox. We want to understand fluency better, look at how using difficulty now, cognitive strain, can actually lead to ease later.
The long-term goal.
And also uncover some of these hidden mental traps, these biases that might be holding you back without you even realizing it. The aim, move past just studying harder and actually design a smarter path to making your English feel effortless.
Shifting skills from that effortful system 2.
Exactly, over to the automatic system 1. So, okay, let's dig in. This C1 paradox, this feeling of mental effort. What's really going on inside our heads?
Well, Kahneman's model is perfect for this. Our brain isn't just one thing, right? So it's more like a team. And system 1 is the automatic pilot. It's incredibly fast. It's intuitive.
Like instinct?
Pretty much. It operates with almost no effort, and you don't really consciously control it. It's how you instantly know someone looks angry or how you react to dodge something without thinking.
Okay, so for someone speaking their native language, English, for example, that's all system 1, isn't it? It just flows. They're not consciously picking verbs or checking grammar.
Precisely. Native language is pure system 1 territory. And that's really the goal for you as a C1 learner. You've already got a pretty solid system 1 for a lot of English basics.
Yeah, like conjugating to be or basic past tense. I'll think about that.
Exactly. Or understanding simple questions like, how are you? That's automatic now. That's your foundation. The whole advanced journey is really about expanding that automatic zone.
Right. So if system 1 is the autopilot, then system 2, that's the conscious thinker, the analytical part.
That's it. System 2 is your conscious reasoning self. It's slow, it's analytical, and crucially, it takes effort. Real concentration. It's what you use when you're solving a tough math problem or carefully parking your car or, really thinking through a complex argument.
That's where the learning happens then.
Absolutely. Every single advanced English skill you learned it using System 2. As a C1 learner, your System 2 is working overtime.
Ah, okay. So choosing between effect and effect, that's System 2.
Definitely. Or figuring out a really dense sentence in an academic paper. Applying those fiddly grammar rules like the subjunctive, searching your brain for just the right adjective. That's all System 2 heavy lifting.
I totally get that feeling. After a long meeting in English, your brain just feels fried, like you've run a mental marathon. That's System 2 burnout.
That's exactly it. Kahneman points out that System 2, while it's powerful, it's also kind of lazy. And it gets tired easily. Its resources aren't infinite.
So that mental fatigue, or when you just can't find a word you know?
Classic signs of an overworked System 2. It's this constant back and forth for the C1 learner. You've got your core stuff in System 1 running smoothly, but you keep having to call on this energy-guzzling System 2 for the advanced parts.
Which creates that weird feeling. 1 minute you're chatting easily, the next you're struggling. You can almost hear the gears turning.
Exactly that cognitive dissonance.
Right.
Whereas a native speaker, their advantage isn't a better brain. It's just that their linguistic System 1 is vast, built up over years and years.
So our job isn't just learn more stuff. It's about strategically moving things, words, structure, skills, from that slow, conscious System 2
into the fast, automatic System 1. That's the real challenge and the real prize, building those mental highways.
Right. Okay. Which leads to the million-dollar question. How do we do that? How does something go from effortful System 2 to effortless System 1? If we crack that, we've got the key to fluency.
Well, the short answer, according to Kahneman, is practice. High-quality, sustained practice. The brain is smart. If you make it do the same hard System 2 task over and over, it finds ways to automate it, to make shortcuts.
Save energy.
Exactly. And that automation is basically creating a new System 1 skill. But this brings us to what's called the paradox of practice.
A paradox. Okay, sounds intriguing. You mentioned cognitive ease and cognitive strain before. Let's break those down.
Right. Cognitive ease is, well, it's mental comfort. When your brain feels like this, things seem familiar, easy, probably true, even good. System 1 loves cognitive ease. Real fluency feels like cognitive ease.
Okay, so strain is the opposite, that mental effort we talked about.
Precisely. Cognitive strain kicks in when things are difficult, unfamiliar, when you really have to focus.
Yeah.
It wakes up System 2. And here's the thing. Learning, real learning, only happens under cognitive strain.
Ah, I see the paradox now. To get the future feeling of ease fluency, you have to embrace the present feeling of strain. Deliberate practice.
You got it. It's counterintuitive, but crucial.
Because I think that's where a lot of us C1 learners get stuck in the comfort zone trap, Watching shows we mostly understand, having the same kinds of conversations, using words we already know well.
It feels good, right?
Yeah.
That's cognitive ease. But it's not really stretching you.
Yeah, it's like exercising your existing System 1, but not actually building anything new onto it.
Exactly. It's like going to the gym and only lifting the weights you can already lift easily. Feels nice, achieves nothing new. Real progress happens just outside your current comfort zone, in that zone of productive cognitive strain. The goal is to figure out how to stay there consistently, but, without burning out completely.
Okay, so if we need to embrace strain to build ease, what are some concrete strategies, things a C1 learner can actually do to train their linguistic System 1?
Great question. Let's start with something called overlearning for automaticity. Now, at C1, this isn't about drilling basic verb tables like when you started.
Right. Feels a bit basic now, maybe.
It might feel like it, but it's about taking complex things you understand with System 2 and making them lightning fast for System 1. Think about drilling collocation.
Word partners, like make an effort or commit a crime.
Exactly. Don't just know that commit goes with crime. Say commit a crime out loud 20 times. Write 5 sentences using it actively. The goal is to weld them together in your brain so strongly that saying do a crime actually feels weird, almost physically wrong.
Okay. Making it instinctive, like highly unlikely or fundamentally flawed.
Precisely. And you could do the same with drilling sentence chunks. Find those sophisticated sentence frames you use in writing, but maybe stumble over when speaking.
Like, not only, but also, I know the rule, but saying it smoothly under pressure, maybe not.
Right. So drill it. Not only is this expensive, but it's also impractical. Say it. Change the parts. Practice until that whole structure flows out as one unit. Build a library of these ready-to-go advanced chunks in your System 1.
Okay, strategy 2. Moving from conscious rules to intuitive feel. This sounds like the ultimate goal, right? Not needing the rule book because it just feels right.
That's the magic of System 1 pattern recognition. Think about articles A and the or no article. Native speakers don't use rules for this mostly. It just sounds right or sounds wrong.
Yeah, that's still tricky for me sometimes. Constant System 2 checking.
Very common. So how do you build that intuition? You need lots of input, but specifically try narrow reading. That means reading several articles or maybe a few chapters, all on the same specific topic.
Why narrow?
Because the repetition of vocabulary, structures, and yes, article usage, all within a similar context, gives your brain's pattern detector tons of data to work with. Over time, the correct patterns start to feel familiar, and the incorrect ones trigger that, ugh, that sounds off feeling. That's cognitive dissonance, your System 1 waking up.
Okay, narrow reading. I like that. Strategy 3 is one I find fascinating. Shattering to bypass analysis, where you repeat what a native speaker says, like right after them.
Exactly, in real time. The key here is the speed. It's usually too fast for your analytical system to jump in and start picking everything apart.
So you're not focusing on grammar or meaning necessarily.
Not primarily. You're forced to focus on the sound, the rhythm, the intonation, the way words link together, the prosody. It trains your pronunciation, both mentally and physically, bypassing all that overthinking. It helps you sound more natural by tapping directly into your System 1 imitation abilities.
Okay, that makes sense. And the last one. Reactive speaking drills to force speed. Basically creating situations where you don't have time to think.
You got it. Force System 1 to come out and play. One way is rapid-fire questions. Get a language partner to hit you with questions on a topic, and you have to answer in, say, 10 seconds. Mix up simple and complex questions.
That sounds stressful.
It is, but that pressure is the point. It stops System 2 deliberation and forces automatic retrieval. You'll probably surprise yourself with what comes out.
Okay. Another idea.
Try 1-minute debates. Pick a simple controversial topic. Cats versus dogs. Remote work is better. Argue one side for 60 seconds, then immediately switch and argue the other side for 60 seconds.
Whoa, okay. That forces mental flexibility.
And reliance on whatever language is easily available in your System 1. It builds speed and coherence under pressure.
These are great practical strategies. Now, you mentioned Kahneman also talks about biases, predictable errors our brains make.
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting for learners. These cognitive biases are tendencies of our fast, intuitive System 1 to make certain kinds of mistakes. Understanding them can save you a lot of grief and wasted effort. They often feed right into that C1 paradox feeling.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the first one?
Let's start with the planning fallacy. You jokingly called it RBC2 by Christmas. It's our built-in tendency to be way too optimistic about how long things will take, even if we failed to meet similar deadlines before.
We focus on the best case scenario.
Exactly. We imagine everything going smoothly and don't account for, well, life happening. For C1 learners, this is a major source of frustration. They think, okay, C1 now, C2 must be just around the corner, maybe 6 months.
And they underestimate the sheer amount of practice needed for that final jump.
Massively. So when progress inevitably feels slower than their super optimistic plan, they get discouraged. They feel like they're failing when really it's just a common bias playing out.
So what's the antidote? How do we fight the planning fallacy?
Kahneman suggests taking an outside view. Don't just rely on your own hopeful feelings. Look at external data. How long does it actually take other C1 learners to get comfortably to C2?
And the answer is usually longer than we think.
Usually measured in years of consistent work, not months. Seeing that reality helps set realistic expectations and protects your motivation.
And you also mentioned focusing on the process, not the outcome.
Absolutely critical. Forget the big, scary goal of become C2. Instead, focus relentlessly on small, daily process goals. Today, I will do 15 minutes of shadowing, or I will read one challenging article using narrow reading. Build a resilient system of habits, not a fragile, distant plan.
Okay, that makes sense. Bias number 2.
WYSIety stands for what you see is all there is. This is System 1's habit of making a coherent story using only the information immediately available. It jumps to conclusions confidently, even with limited data.
How does that show up for language learners?
Well, imagine you learn the word execute in a business meeting, meaning carry out a plan. Your WYSIety brain might go, okay, got it, execute means carry out.
And it stops there.
Right. Then later you see the prisoner was executed, and you're totally confused because your brain confidently locked onto the first meaning and ignored the possibility of others. It leads to a lack of vocabulary depth and subtle misunderstandings. System 1 took the easy route.
So how do we counter WYSIety?
You have to consciously engage System 2. Cultivate a bit of intellectual humility. Assume you don't fully understand a new word just from seeing it once.
Dig deeper than just the first dictionary definition.
Exactly. And this is where using a corpus becomes so valuable at this level. Tools like COSIA or the BNC. Search for that word, execute. You'll see dozens, maybe hundreds of real examples from news, fiction, academic texts.
Forcing you to see all the different ways it's used, its nuances, its partner.
Precisely. It shatters the WYSIety illusion and builds a much richer, more accurate understanding.
Okay, third bias, the availability heuristic. This sounds like we focus on what easily comes to mind, like recent mistakes.
That's a perfect example of how it affects learners. We judge how important or frequent something is based on how easily we can recall instances of it. Recent, emotionally charged events are very available to memory.
So I give a presentation and I totally mess up the word colleague. I feel embarrassed. It's fresh in my mind.
Right. And the availability heuristic screams, this is your biggest English problem. So you spend the next week drilling colleague, colleague, colleague.
Well, maybe ignoring more common but less memorable errors, like maybe consistent article mistakes or a preposition I always get wrong.
Exactly. You're focusing on what feels urgent and memorable, System 1's availability, not necessarily what's statistically most impactful on your overall fluency, which requires System 2 analysis.
Classic trap. Okay, antidote.
Data over feelings. Keep an error log. Seriously, for a month, jot down every mistake you notice yourself making or that someone corrects. Be systematic.
Like a little language detective.
Kind of. Then, at the end of the month, sit down and analyze it. That's a System 2 task. Look for the real patterns. What errors keep cropping up? That data will override the bias of your recent memory.
And for vocabulary, I guess a spaced repetition system, SRS, like Anki, helps here too.
Hugely. And SRS is the ultimate availability heuristic killer for vocab. The algorithm cures System 2 logic decides what to show you based on optimizing long-term memory, not based on what you learned yesterday or what felt hardest. It forces efficient review for System 1 acquisition.
Smart. Okay, final concept. Ego depletion. This explains the "why can't I speak English well at night" feeling.
It really does.
Yeah.
Kahneman discussed this idea that willpower, self-control, and complex mental effort, basically, using System 2, draws on a limited energy reserve, like a mental battery.
And when that battery is low,
Your ability to engage System 2 plummets. So imagine a long, hard day at work. Lots of decisions, stress. Your System 2 energy is drained.
and then you try to have a difficult English conversation in the evening.
And suddenly you're struggling for words, making basic errors you know you shouldn't make, feeling totally incompetent. It's not that your English vanished. It's that the System 2 needed to access and use your advanced skills is offline, essentially. Your tired brain defaults to easier, simpler language.
Joe, I've definitely felt that. Trying to write a complex work email late at night, and it feels like wading through treacle. Every word is a fight.
That's ego depletion in action. So the antidote isn't just time management, it's energy management.
Scheduling practice based on when your brain is actually sharp.
Exactly. Do the hard things first. Tackle your most demanding English tasks. Maybe writing that report, doing deliberate grammar practice, prepping for a presentation during your peak mental energy hours. For many people, that's the morning or early afternoon.
And then match the task to your energy level later on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Use those low energy times after work, commuting for low strain, System 1 friendly stuff. Listen passively to a podcast. Rewatch a movie you like in English. Read something light. It respects your brain's limits, makes the process sustainable, and avoids that constant frustration of fighting against ego depletion.
Wow. Okay, so bringing this all together, that C1 paradox we started with, that feeling of effortful fluency, it really is a cognitive challenge. But Kahneman's System 1 and System 2 model gives us such a clear way to understand it, and importantly, a path forward.
Absolutely. If we look at the big picture, fluency lives in System 1. It's that state of cognitive ease, of intuitive language use. But paradoxically, the only reliable way to get there is through the hard yards put in by System 2.
Embracing that cognitive strain isn't failure, it's the process.
It's the engine of growth. It's what slowly, painstakingly carves out those automatic pathways in System 1.
So by understanding how our minds work, the interplay between these systems, the biases that can trip us up, we really can become like the architects of our own fluency.
That's a great way to put it. You can design your practice smarter, anticipate the mental traps, and deliberately build those bridges for skills to cross over from effortful System 2 to effortless System 1.
And that's where true mastery starts to feel possible, that effortless excellence. Okay, so for you listening today, here's something to think about as you go. If you identified your own peak mental energy window each day, how could applying these ideas doing your hardest System 2 work then fundamentally change how you learn not just English, but maybe any complex skill? How could you maximize your effectiveness when it really counts? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.